Today we're turning everyday items into ingenious home hacks. They are creative solutions that are going to help you to simplify your life. We're going to start off with one of my favorites. We're going to get a pot of boiling water and add some pasta to it. Now, after I do this, I immediately grab my spoon and start stirring because I don't want that pasta to clump and settle at the bottom. So you've got to keep that water in the pasta moving. Well, let me show you a hack that's going to do it for you. What you do is you move your pan halfway off the burner. This helps move the pasta around without stirring because the temperature difference between the center of the pan and the edge creates a gentle circular motion inside the pan. The movement helps this pasta to cook evenly and prevents it from sticking to the bottom. So instead of standing there stirring for 5 to 8 minutes, you can set a timer instead of babysitting this boiling pot of noodles. If you need a magic helper to help you boil your noodles, just move that pot halfway off the burner and it will do it for you. Next, we are going to completely transform our regular old baking sheet into a muffin or cupcake transportation solution. You know, when you have cupcakes or muffins that you need to transport from one area to another, a lot of times from one venue to another, well, you want to make sure that those muffins or cupcakes get there unscathed. So what we're going to do is create a grid over the top of our baking sheet. We're going to do that with some blue painter's tape. I added 4 lines of tape vertically across the top of the baking sheet. Now all I need to do is grab my muffins and place them in each of the squares. Now I only made a dozen muffins, but this can actually fit 15, so you can put a whole lot of baked goods in this baking sheet grid. And now that everything's in place, I'm going to shake it around for you so you can see that those muffins will not go anywhere. You can put them inside of your car and feel secure knowing that you're not going to end up with baked goods all over the floor on the way to your party. The art of tying a tie is not as easy as you would think. I've had to learn over the years because I have twin boys, so tying a tie is a necessity. So let me show you how I learned how to do it. It will give you the perfect knot every single time. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take your tie, put it on your arm like this, so the tip is like right in the crook. Then you're going to take this tail and wrap it around your arm 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to take my hand, place it behind the first loop, grab that second loop, and pull it up. Now I have created a tie, you guys. Is that awesome? It's adjustable, so you can just like pop it over their heads and then adjust it to the size that you need so you have the perfect knot on a tie. This is a hack that I use all the time. My boys do know how to tie their ties now, but this was really helpful when they were younger. This is such a great hack and you have the perfect tie. Do you have candles that are either halfway melted down your container or like all the way at the bottom, and you're having a hard time lighting it because your match won't reach all the way down there without burning your hand? Well, I have a solution for you. What you need is some spaghetti. Yeah, we're gonna light the tip of this spaghetti on fire. Light the spaghetti with your match and the pasta will start on fire. Now you can reach those hard to reach wicks at the bottom. You can reach them comfortably now without burning your hand. This is so convenient for those hard to reach wicks. It's going to save you from burning your hands. I love using parchment paper when I bake, but sometimes the struggle is real with the parchment paper. In the past, I've shown you how to cut the corners and place it inside of a baking sheet, but I recently found a better way to get your parchment paper to lay flat in your pan. So what we're gonna do is take a piece of this parchment paper, get it to the size we want, rip it. Okay, we are going to submerge this parchment paper in some water. Just gonna crumple it up and put it in the water. We're gonna make sure it's nice and wet. And now we're gonna bring it up, squeeze it, We want to get rid of as much moisture as we possibly can from this parchment paper because we don't want the excess water to affect the way that our baked goods turn out. So squeeze all that water out of this parchment paper. Now we can unravel it and place it inside of our baking dish. Look at that, you guys. Look how easily that went in. And now we don't have to fight with the parchment paper anymore. It fits the shape of whatever pan you're using. So get your parchment paper moist, stick it inside of your pan, and it will form to the shape that you need. We love playing games at our house. There's nothing better than an afternoon spent sitting around the table, playing games, eating fun food, and laughing. Well, because we like to snack while we play games, sometimes our cards get a little sticky. So let me show you an easy way to clean your playing cards. What we're going to use is, of all things, flour. So I got a brown paper bag, put the playing cards in the paper bag or a plastic zip top bag, add a small amount of the flour. I did about 2 tablespoons. Add that to the bag with the playing cards. Seal the bag and shake it gently to ensure that the flour coats the cards evenly. So you're gonna wanna shake it a bunch. I shook it for maybe 45 seconds to a minute because you want that flour to get in between all of our playing cards. So now that the flour has coated our cards sufficiently, you can take the cards out of the bag and wipe them off with a cloth or soft brush to remove the excess flour. This should help reduce stickiness and make the cards easier to shuffle. I am certainly no card shark, but even I could tell that when I went to shuffle these cards that it was so much easier now that they had been dusted and wiped clean with the flour. So if you need to clean your playing cards, flour works beautifully. If you have a necklace that you don't use very often, you can actually turn that into a bracelet. So what we're gonna do is gather up a necklace, any shape or size you want. Make sure that the necklace is clasped, wrap it around your wrist, take one side of the necklace and thread it through the other side. Open the clasp up, wrap it around your wrist, and then attach the clasp or closure again. Now that it's on, you can adjust it to where you want it to be. I liked the layered look, and I actually chose one that had a heart in the center, so I wanted the heart to remain in the center, so I just adjusted it to where I wanted that to be. Now you have this brand new bracelet that you created out of a necklace that you didn't use very often. I don't know about you, but I am always losing the lids to my mason jars. They're like socks. They just disappear and I never know where they go. Well, if yours disappear like mine do and you still need a lid for your mason jar, let me show you what you can use as a substitute. If you have some Parmesan cheese and you're finished with it, save that lid. What I'm gonna do is take the lid off of my Parmesan container and then twist it onto your mason jar. I actually prefer these Parmesan lids to the actual mason jar lids itself because the Parmesan lids are so much more versatile. You can open them and close them. What I'm gonna do is fill up my jar with some rice, but you could use oats or cereal or anything you wanted to put into a mason jar. And now I can pop that lid open and pour my rice into a measuring cup, and then close the lid back up, and now I know that the food item inside is sealed inside. If you don't have a lid like this, you can also use a peanut butter lid. I'm gonna take the lid off of an empty peanut butter container and put it on my smaller mason jar. It twists right on, and now I have this sealed container. My daughter likes to make overnight oats, so it's easy for her now to use this lid to seal up those oats, put them in the fridge. She doesn't have to use all of the oats now. She can just put that lid back on and place it back in the fridge. Before you throw containers out that have lids on them, take the lids off and test them out as lids for a mason jar. I think you'll be surprised and amazed at how many lids actually fit on these mason jars and how well it works. This next hack is actually a family favorite, and we have been using it for years. You know when your dishwasher is done with a cycle and you open up the door lid and the steam comes out, and you look at your plastic bowls and plates and there's condensation all over it. There's just water droplets all over these plastic dishes. Well, what I do is I get a clean kitchen towel and I drape it over the lid of the dishwasher and then close it back up. I'll leave it there for about 30 minutes, come back, open the dishwasher back up, and voila, all of those droplets from those plastic dishes have absorbed into the towel. It's like magic. I don't know how it works, but I do this literally every single time I run a cycle through the dishwasher. So if you have extra condensation or extra water droplets on your plastic dishes, give this hack a try. I think you will be amazed at the results. Speaking of dishes, sometimes I get rust stains on my knives. They're just little teeny dots on the knives, and even though they're clean, they look dirty. We're going to remove those rust spots. We're going to do that with some white distilled vinegar, just plain vinegar. I'm going to add vinegar to a cup and then take my knives and place it into the vinegar. You want to make sure that the blade is completely submerged in the vinegar, then leave them soaking in the vinegar for 20 minutes. After the 20 minutes is up, you can remove your knives and get a sponge and wipe these rust stains off. They come right off. You don't need to scrub very hard at all. You just need to wipe them clean. Once all my knives had been wiped off, I rinsed them off in the sink. And now look at the difference, you guys. They look brand new. They're sparkling clean, shiny, no more rusty spots or hard water stains. These knives are as good as new. Our next hack is going to help us to keep our wrapping paper in control. What we need is an empty paper towel center, just this cardboard center. What we're gonna do is grab our scissors and we are going to cut down the center of our cardboard paper towel center. So now we can open it up. Now we can put our wrapping paper inside, close it up, and now look at this. Oh, how nice. And we can set it down and it's not gonna roll anywhere. We can hold it and continue to pull it out. And this paper towel holder will hold our wrapping paper in place. So if you have an empty cardboard paper towel center, or even the cardboard center of toilet paper would work really good for a smaller roll of wrapping paper. Either one of those items would work. We can place this over the top, and now it's not going to come unraveled when we're storing it because we don't use Christmas paper all year long. So we've got to store this somewhere. This method helps keep your wrapping paper neat and organized, preventing it from getting damaged or wasted. Do you remember those blueberry muffins that we made earlier? Well, I'm going to show you how to get a perfect muffin or cupcake every single time without burning the bottom. What we're going to do is add a little bit of rice to the bottom of these muffin tins. Placing dried rice in the empty muffin cup helps distribute heat evenly during baking. This can prevent the muffins from getting overly browned on the bottom or unevenly cooked. This rice can also provide support at the bottom if you're working with a light batter that may spread out too much without support. And while the rice itself won't absorb the moisture from the muffins, it will absorb the moisture that might collect in the empty spaces, which can help prevent the bottoms of the muffins from becoming soggy. Nobody wants a soggy muffin. So this rice, as you can see, worked wonders on these muffins. The bottoms of all of these are nicely browned. By adding a little bit of rice to the bottom of your muffin cup before baking makes a world of difference. Another hack that I use to make sure that each one of my muffins or cupcakes are the exact same size is that I use an ice cream scoop. This helps me to scoop up the same amount of batter and then pop it into my cupcake liners. Using an ice cream scoop is also very beneficial because the batter goes right inside of the cupcake liner. It's also easy to regulate the amount so you know that you're going to have enough batter to end up with the right number of cupcakes or muffins. Here's another kitchen hack that I use quite frequently, and it is to use an apple slicer on my potatoes. After the potatoes have been peeled, I just grab my apple slicer and cut the potatoes that way. It goes so quick and it's so easy. If you're in a hurry and need your potatoes to cook fast, cutting them up into smaller pieces as opposed to leaving them whole makes the cooking process go by so much faster. I'm actually cutting mine up to make mashed potatoes right now, but you could leave them in those wedges, put them on a baking sheet, add some olive oil and seasoning, and you would have some yummy potato wedges. They are the perfect size for that. So using the apple slicer to cut your potatoes is very convenient and effective. There are a few hacks that I use to prevent my pot from boiling over, and the first is an oldie but a goodie. It's the wood spoon. Just take a wood spoon and place it over the top of your pot. The wooden spoon breaks up the surface tension of the boiling liquid, which helps to release some of the trapped bubbles that cause the liquid to boil over. Another one of my new favorite hacks is to get an ice cube and just pop it in the boiling water. The ice cube lowers the temperature. The sudden drop in temperature causes a temporary decrease in the intensity of the boiling, reducing the likelihood that it's going to boil over. So if you are cooking and you have multiple pots out on your stovetop and you're having a hard time babysitting all of them, just keep a cup of ice cubes right next to you. So when one's looking dangerously close to boiling over, just grab an ice cube, throw it in the pot, and it will immediately reduce the bubbles. I love burning candles in my home. I love the scent. I love the ambiance of the flicker flame. I just love everything about candles. But they do require a bit of maintenance, so here's a few tips that are going to help you to keep your candles top-notch. Now, what you're going to want to do before blowing them out is make sure that all the wax on the surface has melted. There's a couple reasons for this. Allowing the surface wax to melt and pool evenly across the candle helps prevent tunneling, where the wax melts only in the center and leaves the wax along the edges. Tunneling can waste wax and prevent the actual burn time of the candle. So you can see on this one, can you see how it's tunneled? I didn't wait long enough. I didn't make sure that everything had been melted. I burned it out too prematurely, and so now I've got these little indents. You don't want those, because eventually what's going to happen is the wax is going to crawl up on the side, and wax actually does have a memory, which causes the candle to continue to burn unevenly in subsequent uses. Another thing that we're going to want to make sure that we do is trim the wicks. Trimming the wicks is so important. You want to keep it at about 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch. I use scissors, but there's actually wick trimming cutters that you can get. So why trim the wicks? Well, if you don't, the longer widths can create soot. Have you ever seen a candle and there's like black soot all around the outside of the jar? Well, trimming it down will help prevent this. Also, if you have a super long wick, you're going to have a larger flame, which can be dangerous. So you want to make sure that your flames are as small as they can be so that you don't have excess fire coming out of your candle. Trimming the wick also minimizes smoking, which ensures a cleaner and more pleasant experience when burning the candle. By regularly trimming the wicks of your candle, you can extend the burn time and maintain a safer and more enjoyable candle burning experience. Does your brown sugar ever dry up and clump? Sometimes it happens to me. Well, let me show you a way that you can prevent this from happening. What I'm going to do is get a piece of bread. Now, I'm going to use the heel piece because that's a hard sell in our house anyways. Nobody wants the heel piece. So I'm going to grab the heel piece and put it inside of my brown sugar bag. The reasons why the bread works is because bread contains moisture. So when you place the bread inside of an airtight container or a bag like this, it releases that moisture into the sugar. This additional moisture helps prevent the sugar from hardening by creating a slightly humid environment inside the bag or container. You can also use some marshmallows. I just grabbed a handful of the mini marshmallows. You can throw in a couple of large ones too. Once the marshmallows were inside the bag, I just closed it back up. The marshmallows do the exact same thing as the bread does. I've heard of one more way to keep your brown sugar soft, and that's to put in some apple slices. I'm not brave enough to try that one out, but if you've tried it and it's worked for you, leave me a comment and let me know. I would love to know if it actually worked or not. So these are a couple different ways to help you to keep your brown sugar nice and soft. I cannot tell you how many times I've started the baking process and realized that I have not yet pulled out my butter for it to get soft. So here is a way to get perfectly softened butter in a jiffy. What you're going to want to do is get a microwave safe container. I'm using a glass measuring cup. I'm filling it up with water, putting it in my microwave and setting the timer for 1 minute. Once the 1 minute was up, I pulled my container out, and now we're just going to dump this water into the sink. Now I'm going to take my hot measuring cup and place it over the top of my stick of butter. The heat from the container creates the perfect environment for your butter to soften. It only takes a few minutes, and now I have the perfect stick of softened butter. Oftentimes I overlook how useful a washing machine can be in helping you keep your home clean. Some of the items that you can put in there you don't really think about or you didn't know you could actually wash. Now, of course, I love to wash my oven mitts, my pot holders, and my placemats, but did you also know that you can wash your yoga mat in the washing machine? I did not know I could do that. What you do is you just place it inside of your washing machine, set it to a gentle cycle, and when it's done, pull it out and let it air dry. My mats definitely need to be washed. So you can wash that in a washing machine. You can also wash some sneakers. Typically I take the laces out and I put it inside of a mesh bag or a pillowcase. You can wash stuffed animals. Stuffed animals can get a lot of love, but they can also get really dirty and sticky and they need to be washed. So again, I either place them inside of a mesh bag or a pillowcase. You can wash your shower curtain, whether it's fabric or vinyl. You can put it in the washing machine. Again, set it for a gentle cycle and let that washing machine wash off your shower curtain. If you have a small, thin rug, you can wash that in the washing machine as well. And also backpacks. Those backpacks can get really dirty. They go to school every day. Who knows what's on them? So toss those in the washing machine too and get those nice and clean. Before you do wash these, make sure that you check the manufacturer's label just to make sure that you can wash them. Hopefully one of these items that I just mentioned will get the wheels turning in your mind of what you can actually wash in the washing machine. Well, you guys, we did so many home hacks today, and each one of these were so easy, affordable. They can help you to live beautifully by simplifying your life. If you have a home hack that you love, that works for you, I would love to learn about it, so leave me a comment and let me know. If you liked this video and want to see more like it, I would love to have you subscribe so I can share those with you. Thank you so much for watching.